Most people go through life thinking the battle is out there, in their circumstances, in their challenges, in the people around them. But the truth is, the real battle starts right here in the mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. If your thoughts are negative, your life will reflect negativity. If your thoughts are positive, your life becomes a masterpiece. The secret to changing your life is not in changing the world, it's in changing your mind. And that is why today, I want you to understand how to kill your negative thinking once and for all. You see, negative thinking is like a thief. It comes quietly, it sneaks in, and before you know it, it steals your peace, your joy, and your potential. But here's the good news. Every thief can be stopped. Every negative thought can be confronted. It starts with awareness. Recognize when negativity enters your mind, because once you are aware, you can take control. You cannot fight what you do not see. Think about this every time you say, I can't, not good enough, this is impossible. You are planting seeds of limitation in your mind. Your mind is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. If you plant weeds, don't expect flowers. So, what are you planting today? Here's the first key point. Identify your negative thoughts. Write them down if you have to. See them for what they are. Once you can name the enemy, you can fight it. Second, challenge every negative thought. Ask yourself, is this really true? Most of the time, our thoughts are exaggerations, assumptions, or fear dressed as truth. Challenge them and strip them of their power. Third, replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Don't just fight negativity with more negativity. Fight it with possibility, with hope, with vision. When you feed your mind with empowering thoughts, it starts to act differently. Fourth, visualize your success. Your mind does not know the difference between imagination and reality. If you can see yourself achieving, your mind begins to create strategies to get you there. Negativity cannot survive in a mind filled with vision. Fifth, control your environment. Negativity is contagious. People, media, and even places can influence your thoughts. Protect your mind like a king protects his kingdom. Only allow positivity, inspiration, and growth to enter. Sixth, speak life to yourself. Your words are powerful. What you speak becomes your reality. Say, I am capable. I am strong. I am moving forward. Speak truth over your life consistently. 7, develop resilience. Negative thinking often comes from fear and failure. But failure is not the enemy, fear is. Learn to bounce back. Learn to see setbacks as lessons, not confirmations of inadequacy. 8, practice gratitude daily. The mind that focuses on blessings has no room for negativity. When you consciously count your blessings, you rewire your brain to see possibility instead of limitation. 9th, take decisive action. Thought alone does not kill negativity, action does. When you act on positive thoughts, you reinforce your belief in yourself. Each small step forward is a victory over negative thinking. 10th, commit to lifelong mental growth. Your mind is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Read, learn, grow, and surround yourself with ideas that expand your thinking. Your mind cannot remain negative if it is constantly fed growth. Listen carefully. The moment you decide to take control of your mind, you take control of your life. Every breakthrough, every success, every dream starts with a thought. Negative thinking is nothing more than a habit, and habits can be broken. Habits can be replaced. But you must be intentional. You must be relentless. You must refuse to let fear, doubt, and limitation dictate your story. I want you to imagine for a moment a life without negative thoughts. A mind free of worry, free of self-doubt, free of excuses. Imagine waking up each day with clarity, confidence, and courage. Imagine approaching problems with solutions, seeing opportunities where others see obstacles, and believing in yourself even when no one else does. That life is possible the moment you kill your negative thinking. Never forget, your mind is your most valuable asset. It is your first and most powerful tool for success. Treat it with care, feed it with positivity, protect it from negativity, and watch your life transform. The world cannot change until you change your mind. So today, make a choice to stop giving power to negative thoughts. Confront them, challenge them, replace them, visualize a better life. Take action. Be grateful, speak truth. Grow constantly. Each of these steps is a bullet aimed at the heart of negativity. You are stronger than your thoughts, bigger than your fears, and more capable than your doubts. Kill your negative thinking, and you will unlock doors you never knew existed. You will awaken potential you thought was lost. You will rise to heights you thought were impossible. The choice is yours. Negative thinking can either control you or you can control it. The power is in your mind, and the time to act is now. You cannot fix what you cannot see. Your life, your actions, your decisions all begin in the mind. And yet, so many people wander through life unaware of the invisible chains that hold them back. These chains are called negative thoughts. They are quiet, subtle, and often disguised as truth. But make no mistake, they are thieves. They steal your confidence, your clarity, your vision, and they do it without asking for permission. To change your life, you must first recognize the enemy. You must identify your negative thoughts. It sounds simple, but it is profound because most people never even see them. They are like termites silently eating away at the foundation of a house. You do not know the damage is happening until the house begins to crumble. Consider the way your mind works in a single day. From the moment you wake up, thoughts flood in. I am tired. I am stressed. I will never get this done. This is too hard. I am not good enough. These are not just words. They are the architects of your future. If left unchecked, they will shape a reality where fear and failure dominate. But if you can identify them, if you can see them for what they are, you have begun to reclaim your power. The first step in any battle is awareness. A soldier who does not know where the enemy is cannot win the war. The moment you say, this is a negative thought, you take control. Imagine a man who wants to start a business. Every day he thinks, what if I fail? What if no one buys? What if I lose everything? These thoughts are not facts. They are projections of fear. If he never identifies these thoughts, they will paralyze him. But the moment he writes them down, examines them, and asks himself, are these really true? He begins to dismantle their power. He realizes that fear is only a feeling, not a prophecy. He realizes that negative thinking is like a mirage in the desert. It looks real, but it cannot sustain life. Identifying negative thoughts is the act of pulling back the curtain to see the truth behind the illusion. Think about a student preparing for an important exam. She constantly tells herself, I will never pass. I am not smart enough. I am too slow. These thoughts become chains around her mind, and soon her confidence crumbles before she even opens the first page of the exam. But what if she stops for a moment, takes a deep breath, and simply notices these thoughts? She could say, these thoughts are not facts. They are my mind trying to protect me from discomfort. Suddenly the chains begin to loosen. Identifying the thought is the first step to freeing herself. She sees the negativity, acknowledges it, and sets it aside like a rock in a river, allowing the current of her potential to flow freely. Every person has negative thoughts, and they come in many disguises. Sometimes they appear as excuses. I don't have time. I am too tired. I am too young. I am too old. Sometimes they appear as comparisons. He is better than me. She has more. I am behind. Sometimes they appear as stories from the past. I failed before. I will fail again. I can never recover. Each one is a thief, a shadow, a whisper designed to make you small. But shadows cannot exist without light. When you identify a negative thought, you shine a light on it. Suddenly, it is no longer invisible. Suddenly, it loses its power to control you. Consider the daily life of someone juggling work, family, and personal goals. The negative thoughts may not scream, they whisper. I cannot manage this. I am overwhelmed. I am not enough. These whispers can lead to stress, anxiety, and procrastination. The solution is not to fight them with willpower alone. The solution is to name them, to identify them, to see them clearly. Once you see them, you can take deliberate action. You can replace, I cannot manage this, with, I will prioritize and take one step at a time. You can replace, oh, I am overwhelmed, with, I can handle challenges with focus and discipline. Identifying negative thoughts is not just awareness. It is the beginning of transformation. In your daily life, negative thoughts are like clouds blocking the sun. They make everything feel dark, cold, and heavy. But identifying them is like lifting the clouds, even for a moment, to see the sun shining behind. You begin to realize that the sun was always there, but your focus was elsewhere. Every time you notice a negative thought, you are lifting a cloud. Every time you name it, you are exposing it to light. Every time you see it clearly, you are taking a step toward freedom. You must also understand that identifying negative thoughts is not a one-time action. It is a habit. It requires discipline, awareness, and honesty with yourself. Every time you catch a thought of limitation, fear, or doubt, you must pause and say, this is a negative thought. This simple recognition begins to change the way your brain works. You are training your mind to become a guardian, to be selective, to reject what does not serve your growth. In time, your mind becomes an ally, not a prison. Remember, your mind shapes your destiny. If you allow negative thoughts to roam freely, they will design a life of mediocrity, fear, and regret. If you identify them, you see them, and you confront them, you begin to design a life of possibility, courage, and excellence. The person who identifies their negative thoughts is the person who takes control of their mind, and the person who takes control of their mind is unstoppable. So every time you hear a thought that says, you cannot, you will not, you are not enough, pause, look at it closely, name it, identify it. This is the most important first step toward personal freedom. Your thoughts are powerful, but only when you control them. Negativity only wins when you are unaware of it. Awareness is the sword, and identification is the strike that begins the battle for your life. Every negative thought that enters your mind is not a truth. It is a challenge waiting to be faced. Too many people accept every negative thought as fact, as if their mind is reporting reality to them. But the truth is, your mind does not always speak the truth. It often speaks fear, limitation, and doubt disguised as reality. To live a life of power, purpose, and achievement, you must challenge every negative thought. You must refuse to take your mind's whispers at face value. The moment you begin to question them, you take your first step toward freedom. Imagine a young woman who wants to start a career in public speaking. Every time she practices her speech in front of the mirror, a voice inside her says, "You will embarrass yourself. No one will listen. You are not talented enough." Many people would let those thoughts define them. Many would quit before they even begin. But she chooses to challenge them. She asks herself, is this thought really true? Do I have evidence that this will happen? Have I spoken in front of people before and survived? Have I ever done something new and succeeded? She begins to see that most of her negative thoughts are assumptions, not reality. By challenging them, she disarms them, and the power shifts from her fear to her courage. Every negative thought can be dissected, analyzed, and tested. It may say, "You cannot do this." You respond, "Why not? What evidence do I have? What can I do to succeed despite the difficulty?" Negative thinking thrives in silence. It thrives when you accept it without question. But when you challenge it, it becomes weak. It is like a bully who loses power the moment you stand up to them. Challenging a thought is not just mental exercise. It is an act of personal empowerment. It is saying to yourself, "I will not be a victim of my mind's doubts. I will master my mind." Think of a man trying to lose weight. Every morning he looks in the mirror and thinks, "I have always been overweight. I will never change. This is impossible." If he simply accepts these thoughts, he remains stuck. But the moment he challenges them, he can ask, "Have I ever succeeded at losing weight before? Can I take small steps to improve? What can I do differently today?" He begins to create a plan, a strategy, a path forward. Challenging negative thoughts turns fear into action, hesitation into determination, and limitation into possibility. Challenging negative thoughts requires honesty and courage. You must recognize that your mind often exaggerates. It turns small obstacles into mountains and simple mistakes into disasters. It predicts failure as if it is certain, but life does not work that way. You must step back and examine the thought as if it were a claim made by someone else. Question it, interrogate it, test it. Ask, is this true for everyone, or is this just my fear speaking? The answers will set you free. Consider a student afraid to speak up in class. Every time the teacher asks a question, a thought whispers, "You will say something wrong, everyone will laugh." Instead of believing it, she challenges it. Have I ever spoken before and survived? Do I have knowledge that can contribute? What is the worst that can happen, and can I recover? By challenging the thought, she discovers that her fear is imaginary and her confidence grows. Challenging negative thoughts transforms hesitation into courage and uncertainty into action. Life constantly tests you with negative thinking. At work, at home, in relationships, in personal goals, the mind sends doubts and fears like messengers of defeat. The person who challenges these thoughts sees them for what they are: temporary, unverified, and powerless unless believed. Every negative thought challenge is a victory. Every doubt questioned is a step closer to mastery. The more you practice this, the stronger your mind becomes, and the easier it is to act boldly. Challenge is not always comfortable. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, your fears, and your past failures. But growth never comes from comfort, it comes from courage. Every thought that says, "You cannot," is an invitation to prove your mind wrong. Every "I am not good enough" is a call to rise above your own limitations. Challenging negative thoughts is not just about thinking differently, It is about believing in your potential and refusing to accept mediocrity. Look at your daily life. Negative thoughts will come when you wake up feeling tired, when traffic makes you late, when bills arrive, when someone criticizes you, when setbacks appear. In those moments, challenge every thought. Do not allow them to define your day, your choices, or your future. Ask, is this thought based on fact or fear? What can I do to change the outcome? How can I use this moment to grow? Challenging thoughts is a mental exercise that rewires your brain. It trains your mind to respond with power instead of panic, with strategy instead of surrender, with confidence instead of self-doubt. The beauty of challenging negative thoughts is that it turns your mind into a battlefield where you are the general. You are no longer a passive observer of life. You are an active participant, deciding which thoughts to believe, which to ignore, and which to transform into fuel for action. Each negative thought you challenge strengthens your mental muscles, sharpens your focus, and ignites your courage. You begin to see obstacles as opportunities, failures as lessons, and fear as a signal to act. Every day presents a choice: to accept negative thoughts or to challenge them, to remain a victim of your mind or to become the master of it. The person who challenges every negative thought refuses to be limited by imagination, fear, or past mistakes. They step boldly into action, confident that reality does not conform to doubt but to belief. Your mind is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds you plant. If you plant weeds, your garden will be overrun with weeds, choking every chance of growth, beauty, and abundance. Negative thoughts are like weeds. They take root quickly and spread silently, making you feel trapped, small, and defeated. But the good news is that your mind can also grow flowers, fruits, and towering trees of success, joy, and peace. How do you make that happen? By replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. It is not enough to simply reject negativity. You must consciously plant thoughts that uplift, empower, and inspire you. Consider a man who has been laid off from his job. The first thought that enters his mind might be, I am a failure. I will never find another job. I am worthless. If he allows these thoughts to take root, they will dictate his actions. He may stay in bed, avoid opportunities, or convince himself that he is doomed. But if he consciously replaces those thoughts with positive ones, I have skills that are valuable. I can learn new things. This is an opportunity to find something better. Suddenly his energy changes. He begins to take action, network, learn, and apply. Replacing negative thoughts with positive ones transforms fear into motivation, paralysis into progress, and despair into hope. Your daily life is filled with moments when negative thinking tries to dominate. Perhaps it is a student preparing for exams thinking, I am not smart enough. I will fail. Instead of letting these thoughts paralyze her, she can replace them with positive affirmations. Oh, I am capable. I have prepared well. I can do this. By doing so, she changes not only her mindset, but also her performance. Positive thoughts give direction, clarity, and courage. They create a lens through which you see possibilities instead of obstacles. Think about the small, ordinary moments of life where negativity often sneaks in. Waiting in traffic, dealing with a difficult colleague, or handling an unexpected bill. The mind may whisper, this is too, or why does this always happen to me? I can't handle it. You have a choice. You can feed that thought, letting frustration control your day, or you can replace it with a positive thought. I can manage this. This is temporary. I will find a solution. Replacing thoughts is a deliberate act, a choice to take control of your inner world, even when the outer world seems chaotic. Consider the power of language in this process. Words are not just words. They are the architects of your life. Every time you say, I can't, I am not enough, I will fail, you are reinforcing negative patterns. Every time you say, I can, I am capable, I will overcome, you are constructing a blueprint for success. Replacing negative thoughts with positive ones is like changing the software in your mind. It changes how you think, feel, and act. Your mind responds to what you feed it, and positive thoughts are the nutrients for growth, creativity, and resilience. Imagine a woman who dreams of starting her own business, but constantly thinks, I will not succeed, I am not ready, I do not have the money. Each negative thought is a weight on her shoulders, dragging her down. But when she consciously replaces those thoughts with positive affirmations, I can learn as I go, I have creativity, I can attract the resources I need, she begins to act differently. She takes risks, explores opportunities, and opens herself to growth. The power of replacing thoughts is that it changes your reality, your actions follow your mindset, and your mindset follows your thoughts. Replacement of thoughts is not about pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about acknowledging reality, but refusing to let negativity control your response. For example, someone may face criticism at work. The initial thought might be, I am inadequate, I cannot meet expectations. Replacing it with a positive thought, I can improve, I can learn, feedback helps me grow, turns the experience from a blow into a lesson, from defeat into opportunity. Positive thoughts redirect energy from fear to solution, from self-pity to growth, from despair to action. Daily practice is essential. Your mind has been trained for years to think in certain patterns, many of which are negative. You cannot simply replace thoughts once and expect permanent change. It requires repetition, discipline, and focus. Each time a negative thought arises, you must catch it and consciously replace it. Over time, this becomes a habit, and your mental garden begins to flourish. Flowers of confidence, trees of resilience, and fruits of creativity begin to grow where once there were only weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation. Visualization strengthens the process. See yourself acting on positive thoughts. Imagine the business launched, the exam passed, the presentation delivered successfully. The more vivid your positive mental image is, the stronger the replacement of negative thoughts becomes. Your brain starts to act as if the positive scenario is real, creating neural pathways that lead to real action and real results. Every time you replace a negative thought with a positive one, you are training your mind to respond with courage, creativity, and clarity. Remember that your thoughts are the foundation of your life. Negative thoughts will always appear like shadows in the corner of your mind, but positive thoughts are your light. Replacing negativity with positivity is an act of mastery. It is saying to yourself, I am the author of my mind, and I refuse to allow weeds to grow where flowers belong. It is the choice to see opportunity instead of obstacle, solution instead of problem, hope instead of fear. It is the key to unlocking potential, purpose, and personal power. Every day presents countless opportunities to practice this principle. When someone is rude, when plans fail, when challenges arise, replace negative thoughts with positive ones. When the mind whispers, I can't, answer, I can. When it says, this is too hard, say, I can learn. When it says, I am not enough, declare, I am capable. Each replacement is a spark of freedom, a seed of possibility, a step toward a life of excellence, courage, and joy. Success begins in the mind long before it appears in the world. Before the first step is taken, before the first action is performed, the mind must see the outcome clearly. This is what it means to visualize your success. Visualization is not daydreaming. It is not wishful thinking. It is training your mind to believe in possibilities that have not yet materialized. When you see it clearly in your mind begins to find ways to make it real. The human brain cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual event, and this is the secret power of visualization. Imagine a young athlete preparing for a big competition. Every day she closes her eyes and sees herself crossing the finish line, victorious, confident, and unstoppable. She feels the rush of energy, hears the roar of the crowd, and tastes the sweetness of achievement. The mind does not know that this moment has not yet happened. It begins to act as if it is real. Her training becomes sharper, her focus becomes stronger, and her actions align with the vision she holds. Visualization turns the invisible into a blueprint for reality, and her success is no longer a distant dream, but a living possibility. Consider the entrepreneur who wants to launch a business. Before writing a single plan, before meeting a single investor, he spends time imagining the company thriving. He sees happy customers, growing revenue, and a team that works passionately toward a shared mission. He visualizes himself overcoming challenges, solving problems, and making decisions with clarity and confidence. This mental rehearsal strengthens his mind, prepares him for obstacles, and aligns his energy with the reality he wants to create. What he sees in his mind begins to guide his actions in the world, turning thought into tangible results. Visualization works in every area of life. A student preparing for an exam can see themselves answering every question with calm confidence, recalling every piece of knowledge accurately. A parent managing multiple responsibilities can see themselves handling stress gracefully, solving problems effectively, and creating a nurturing environment for their family. A creative professional can imagine a project coming together perfectly, the work being celebrated and recognition being received. By visualizing success, you create a mental rehearsal that prepares you emotionally, mentally, and even physically for real-world achievement. Daily life is full of distractions, doubts, and negative thoughts that try to steal your energy and focus. Every time a thought whispers, "This is impossible, you are not ready, you will fail," visualization acts as a shield. When you consistently see yourself succeeding, those negative thoughts lose power. They clash with the strong, clear image of your mind, and the mind cannot sustain both fear and clarity at the same time. Visualization strengthens confidence, sharpens focus, and builds resilience against doubt. Consider a young musician dreaming of performing on stage. Every night he imagines himself walking onto the stage, feeling the energy of the audience, playing each note flawlessly, and receiving applause. When the day comes for the actual performance, the experience feels familiar because his mind has already rehearsed it countless times. Anxiety is reduced, confidence is elevated, and performance becomes a reflection of the vision he has held in his mind. Visualization bridges the gap between imagination and reality, preparing the mind and body for action with precision. Visualization also trains your subconscious to work in your favor. The more clearly you see your success, the more your mind begins to notice opportunities, solutions, and connections that support your goal. It programs your perception to see what others might miss. A person who visualizes landing their dream job is more likely to spot networking opportunities, tailor their resume effectively, and prepare for interviews with confidence. Visualization is a strategic alignment between your conscious goals and subconscious guidance, making your success inevitable. This practice requires detail, emotion, and consistency. It is not enough to vaguely imagine, "I will succeed." You must see it clearly, feel it deeply, and experience it fully in your imagination. The smells, the sounds, the sensations, the interactions, all must be part of your mental rehearsal. The more real it feels, the stronger the effect. Your mind begins to attract and create the circumstances necessary to turn the vision into reality. Visualization is the silent architect of achievement, building the life you desire long before anyone else sees it. Every successful person in history has practiced some form of visualization. Before taking monumental steps, they saw the finish line first. They imagined the solution before finding it, the victory before winning, the creation before building it. The mind cannot lead where it has not already been. You are the leader of your own life, and visualization is the map that guides every step. When you hold the image of your success clearly in your mind, your actions become focused, deliberate, and aligned with that vision. In daily life, you can practice visualization in small, consistent moments. Before leaving the house, see yourself navigating challenges with calm and skill. Before an important conversation, see yourself communicating clearly, confidently, and effectively. Before tackling a difficult task, see yourself completing it with precision and excellence. Each practice reinforces the mental pathways that make real-world achievement easier and more natural. Visualization also creates emotional momentum. Your mind and body respond to the feelings generated by the image of success. Joy, pride, confidence, and excitement become tools you carry into reality. When you consistently train your mind to feel success before experiencing it, fear diminishes, courage rises, and possibilities multiply. Your mind begins to act as if success is not just possible but inevitable, and your actions align with that certainty. Every morning and evening, take a few minutes to see yourself succeeding in your goals. Imagine the life you desire as if it is happening right now. Feel the emotions, hear the sounds, and experience the moments in your mind. The stronger the visualization, the stronger the magnetism of success. Your mind is your most powerful tool, and visualization is the practice that turns your thoughts into reality, your dreams into achievements, and your potential into extraordinary results. Your environment is the invisible force that shapes your thoughts, habits, and ultimately your destiny. Most people think success is all about talent, education, or luck, but the truth is your surroundings, the people you spend time with, the media you consume, the places you occupy, have a far greater impact than you realize. If your environment is filled with negativity, distractions, and limitation, your mind will mirror that. If your environment is filled with positivity, inspiration, and growth, your mind will rise to that level. To kill negative thinking, to live a life of purpose, you must take control of your environment. Consider a young man who dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. Every day he spends hours scrolling through social media, watching news that stresses him, listening to people complain, and hanging out with friends who discourage ambition. His thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and distraction. He wonders why he cannot focus, why motivation feels impossible, why he always feels stuck, the answer is not in his lack of talent, but in his environment. His mind is absorbing everything around him. If he moves to an environment filled with mentors, success stories, books, and like-minded, ambitious people, his thoughts shift. The negativity fades, replaced by possibilities, clarity, and focus. Controlling your environment is the first step toward controlling your mind. Your environment includes the people you allow into your life. The voices you hear daily shape your beliefs. If you are constantly around people who complain, criticize, or doubt, your mind begins to accept those messages as truth. You start saying to yourself, cannot, I will fail, this is impossible. But when you intentionally choose people who inspire, challenge, and believe in you, you begin to mirror their mindset. Surrounding yourself with positivity is not superficial, it is strategic. Your mind will rise or fall depending on the company you keep. Think about your physical space. A cluttered room, a messy desk, or a chaotic home can clutter your mind. Every time you enter that space, your brain absorbs the chaos and your thoughts follow suit. Organizing your environment, creating spaces that are clean, inspiring, and intentional signals to your mind that your life has order, that your thoughts matter, and that your actions can be focused. Small changes in your environment have a massive impact on your ability to think clearly and maintain positivity. Media and information are also powerful elements of your environment. News, social media, television, and online content shape your beliefs about the world and yourself. If you consume negativity, fear, and drama daily, it becomes a filter through which you see life. If you intentionally select content that uplifts, teaches, and inspires, your mind begins to align with possibilities rather than limitations. Your environment is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and informational. You must guard it fiercely. Consider a student preparing for exams. If every study session is interrupted by friends who distract, social media notifications, and negative self-talk, success becomes elusive. But if the student creates a focused environment, quiet space, supportive friends, motivational content, structured routine, the mind can focus, retain information, and build confidence. Control your environment, and you control the conditions for success. Your environment also dictates your habits. If you are surrounded by people who procrastinate, your mind will normalize delay. If you are surrounded by people who work hard, pursue growth, and take responsibility, your habits shift naturally. Control your environment to create habits that reinforce positive thinking. Your environment can be a teacher, a motivator, or a destroyer. Choose it wisely. Imagine a woman trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle. She lives in a house stocked with junk food, surrounded by people who eat carelessly and watches television shows that glorify laziness. Every thought of discipline is challenged by her environment. But when she changes her environment, healthy food in the kitchen, accountability partners, exercise routines, and motivational content, her mind adapts. Discipline becomes easier, positive thoughts replace negative ones, and success becomes natural. Environment is not just background. It is a tool for shaping your thoughts and actions. Control also means removing sources of negativity, even if it is uncomfortable. Sometimes the people you love, the routines you cherish, or the habits you rely on are keeping you stuck. Growth requires courage, and part of that courage is stepping away from influences that feed fear, doubt, or limitation. If a friend constantly undermines your vision, if a habit keeps you in despair, if a job drains your energy without purpose, change the environment. The mind thrives in conditions that foster growth. You are the architect of your environment, and in turn, the architect of your thoughts. Daily life offers endless opportunities to exercise this principle. Before starting the day, consider who you will interact with, what you will read, what music you will listen to, and how you will structure your surroundings. Simple choices: listening to uplifting podcasts instead of gossip, spending time with ambitious friends instead of complainers, organizing your workspace instead of leaving it chaotic. Accumulate over time and transform your mind. Control your environment, and your mind begins to operate at peak performance. Remember, your environment is not just where you are, it is what you allow into your mind. It is the energy you absorb, the voices you hear, and the ideas you feed yourself. Negativity cannot dominate a mind that is carefully curated, intentional, and protected. Controlling your environment is an act of self-respect, strategy, and wisdom. It is saying to the world, I will not allow chaos, fear, or limitation to dictate my destiny. When you control your environment, you create fertile ground for positive thoughts, clarity, action, and extraordinary success. Your words are not just sounds, they are the architects of your destiny. What you say to yourself matters more than you realize. Many people walk through life speaking defeat over themselves, repeating phrases like, I am not enough, I cannot do this, or things never work out for me, and they wonder why their life feels heavy, limited, and stagnant. Your mind cannot separate words from reality. The thoughts you verbalize create energy, expectation, and action. When you speak life to yourself, you ignite your potential, activate your confidence, and align your mind with possibility and power. Consider a student preparing for an important exam. Every morning she tells herself, I am smart, I am capable, I can do this. She speaks life over her mind. Each affirmation is a seed, and over time, her mind begins to grow confidence, recall knowledge faster, and handle stress with composure. Compare this to the student who mutters, I am not ready, I will fail, I am not good enough. She speaks defeat into her mind, and every action she takes is colored by hesitation and fear. Speaking life to yourself is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to become. Imagine a young man facing a career challenge. He is overwhelmed by deadlines, competition, and expectations. He can either speak life to himself, I have the skills, I am learning, I can handle this, or succumb to words of limitation. I am not experienced enough, I will mess up, I am not prepared. Notice how the words themselves create energy. Life-altering results are born in the inner dialogue long before any external action occurs. Speaking life is not mere optimism, it is a deliberate act of shaping your reality. Your daily life is full of moments where the choice to speak life or death to yourself presents itself. Waiting in line, dealing with difficult colleagues, managing bills, or handling family stress, all these moments test your inner dialogue. When a thought whispers, I cannot do this, your words are the power that either reinforce the fear or dismantle it. When you consistently speak life, you create mental resilience, emotional strength, and clarity of purpose. The simple act of verbalizing belief in yourself turns fear into fuel, doubt into determination, and hesitation into action. Consider a parent struggling with multiple responsibilities, feeling exhausted and inadequate. When they say to themselves, I am doing my best, I am learning, my efforts matter, they inject life into their mind. Suddenly, fatigue is not a wall, it becomes a challenge they can manage. Frustration becomes a teacher. Every positive word strengthens their focus, their patience, and their energy. The mind begins to believe what is spoken repeatedly, and words are more than messages. They are instructions for action and expectation. Think about athletes preparing for a major competition. They do not just train their bodies, they train their minds. Every morning they speak life. I am strong, I am fast, I am prepared, I will succeed. These words create a mental image, a vibration, and an energy field that influences their performance. The same principle applies to every human being in every area of life. Speaking life is the daily practice of reminding your mind of your value, your potential, and your purpose. Negativity is constant, external and internal. Co-workers may criticize, media may alarm, circumstances may frustrate. If you do not speak life to yourself, external negativity takes root and grows. But when you deliberately speak life, you create an internal shield. Your words act as a filter, allowing only thoughts that serve growth, courage, and progress to take root. Words are not just reflections of thought, they are creators of thought. What you speak repeatedly becomes your reality, your identity, and your destiny. Consider the young professional who faces rejection in interviews. Every no can either crush confidence or reinforce resilience. When they speak life, this is a step closer, I am learning, my opportunity is coming. Each word becomes a brick in the foundation of persistence and belief. Speaking life transforms rejection into redirection, challenges into opportunities, and failure into fuel. Life responds to what your mind believes, and your words are the command center of that belief. Daily life provides countless moments to practice speaking life to yourself. Before starting the day, look in the mirror and affirm, I am capable, I am resilient, I am focused, I am enough. Before a difficult conversation, say, I will communicate clearly, I will remain calm, I will handle this with wisdom. Before pursuing a dream, speak, I have what it takes, I am learning, my efforts will bear fruit. Repetition creates momentum. Speaking life becomes a habit, a shield, and a magnet for opportunities that align with your spoken belief. The most successful people are masters of the inner dialogue. They do not allow negative thoughts to dominate their narrative. They speak life to themselves when alone, in doubt, or facing adversity. They speak words of affirmation that energize their mind, clarify vision, and direct action. Your words are not casual, they are sacred instructions to the most powerful part of you, your mind. By speaking life, you activate courage, focus, creativity, and resilience that can overcome circumstances, setbacks, and limitations. Every day presents a choice to speak life to yourself or let the mind be a battlefield of fear and defeat. Every thought you verbalize, every affirmation, every positive declaration is a seed of change, a spark of potential, and a step toward mastery. When you speak life, your mind, your heart, and your actions align, creating a ripple effect that transforms challenges into lessons, obstacles into opportunities, and dreams into reality. Resilience is the unseen force that separates those who succeed from those who give up. Life will always present challenges, obstacles, and disappointments. But the person who develops resilience is the one who rises each time they fall. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is cultivated through thought, action, and deliberate practice. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to endure without surrendering, and to transform setbacks into stepping stones. To develop resilience, you must first understand that life's difficulties are not punishments, but opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. Consider a young woman who lost her job unexpectedly. The initial shock brings fear, doubt, and anxiety. She could allow this moment to define her as defeated, but instead, she chooses to rise. She acknowledges her feelings, then takes action, updating her resume, networking, learning new skills, and applying for positions. Each small step is an exercise in resilience, strengthening her mind, character, and confidence. Resilience is built in moments like these, when you refuse to be defeated by circumstances and instead allow them to forge your strength. Resilience is also about perspective. Life is unpredictable and things rarely go exactly as planned. The resilient mind does not focus on the unfairness or difficulty. It focuses on solutions, possibilities, and growth. Imagine a student preparing for an important exam who falls ill the night before. Panic and despair could take over, but the resilient student adjusts, studies strategically, and remains calm. They see the setback not as a failure, but as a challenge to overcome. Resilience is the ability to maintain clarity and purpose even in the storm. Daily life is full of subtle exercises in resilience. Perhaps a parent is managing work, family, and personal goals. Every day presents small crises, a sick child, a work emergency, a delayed appointment. The parent who develops resilience does not collapse under pressure. They adjust, prioritize, and respond with patience and determination. Resilience is not about avoiding stress. It is about developing the mental strength and emotional stability to navigate it effectively. Each challenge faced becomes a training ground for greater endurance. Consider the entrepreneur who faces repeated rejection while trying to grow a business. Nor can either discourage or empower. The resilient entrepreneur chooses to learn from each rejection, adapt strategies, and continue pursuing their vision. Resilience transforms setbacks into data, mistakes into lessons, and difficulties into fuel for innovation. Life does not break a resilient person. It trains them, molds them, and prepares them for greater opportunities. Resilience also involves emotional intelligence. The resilient person recognizes emotions like fear, frustration, and doubt, but they do not allow these emotions to control action. Instead, they acknowledge them, process them, and channel their energy into solutions. Imagine a student criticized harshly by a teacher or a colleague receiving negative feedback at work. A resilient mind listens, extracts the useful lessons, and discards the unnecessary negativity. The key to resilience is not suppressing emotion, but transforming it into constructive action. Habits play a critical role in building resilience. Small daily practices, waking up early, exercising, maintaining focus, reading, meditating, planning, strengthen mental toughness. Imagine someone facing a health challenge. Resilience is not only in enduring the immediate difficulty, but also in consistently taking care of their body and mind, building strength to overcome future obstacles. Resilience is the combination of mental, emotional, and physical fortitude cultivated over time through intentional practices. Resilience is strengthened by mindset. The resilient person views life as a series of tests designed to grow them, not punish them. Each failure is a teacher, each disappointment is a lesson, and each obstacle is a call to rise. Imagine a young professional repeatedly passed over for promotion. They can either succumb to resentment or cultivate resilience by improving skills, seeking mentorship, and maintaining consistent effort. Resilience transforms frustration into focus and stagnation into progress. Daily examples of resilience abound in ordinary life. A bus driver navigating traffic delays, a cashier handling difficult customers, a student balancing studies and family responsibilities, a caregiver managing the needs of others. Each of these moments is an opportunity to develop endurance, patience, and adaptability. Resilience is practiced in response to both major and minor challenges. It is forged not only in extraordinary circumstances, but in the steady, intentional response to daily pressures and setbacks. Resilience also requires vision and purpose. When your goal is clear and your purpose compelling, setbacks cannot derail you. Consider an athlete training for a major competition who faces injury. Resilience allows them to continue training intelligently, recover, and maintain focus on their ultimate goal. The mind of a resilient person is anchored in long-term vision, which provides stability, motivation, and clarity even when immediate circumstances are difficult. The final ingredient of resilience is persistence. Developing resilience is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about enduring it with courage, learning from it, and continuing despite it. The person who persists in the face of adversity builds an unshakable confidence and an inner strength that cannot be taken by circumstance. Every challenge overcome, every hardship endured, and every fear faced is a brick in the foundation of lasting resilience. Resilience is the silent power that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It is the strength to stand when others fall, the courage to act when others hesitate, and the determination to continue when others quit. Your life will present storms, but resilience is the anchor that keeps you steady. It is the bridge between failure and success, between despair and hope, and between limitation and greatness. The person who develops resilience shapes not only their future, but also the world around them, inspiring others to rise, endure, and achieve alongside them. Gratitude is not just a polite habit. It is the foundation of a powerful mind and a fulfilled life. Too often people focus on what they do not have, what has gone wrong, and what is missing, and they wonder why life feels heavy, unfulfilling, and stressful. Practicing gratitude daily is the antidote to negative thinking, because it trains the mind to focus on abundance instead of lack, on opportunities instead of obstacles, and on growth instead of limitation. Gratitude rewires your brain to see life differently, and the moment you make it a daily habit, your entire perspective shifts. Consider a young woman who is overwhelmed with responsibilities, balancing work, family, and personal goals. Each day she could focus on exhaustion, traffic, deadlines, and challenges, letting frustration dictate her thoughts and energy. But instead, she begins a daily practice of gratitude. She starts each morning by listing 3 things she is thankful for: her health, her supportive family, the opportunity to learn new skills. Over time, she notices a shift. The weight of daily challenges becomes lighter, her mind more creative, and her energy more positive. Gratitude does not change circumstances immediately, but it changes the way the mind perceives them, and perception is the key to empowerment. Daily life provides countless opportunities to practice gratitude. A student preparing for exams can be thankful for the ability to study, access to resources, supportive teachers, and even the challenges that strengthen focus and discipline. A parent managing household responsibilities can be grateful for the love of their children, the roof over their head, and the lessons learned through patience and perseverance. Even small moments, a warm meal, a smile from a friend, a quiet morning, become sources of power when recognized and appreciated. Gratitude trains the mind to notice value in life rather than dwell on lack. Imagine a man facing career setbacks. Each rejection could be a source of despair, feeding negative thinking. But if he practices gratitude daily, he can acknowledge the lessons in each rejection, the growth that comes from experience, and the opportunities that may arise as a result. He shifts his inner dialogue from "I am failing" to "I am learning, growing, and moving closer to my goal." Gratitude is not passive. It is an active tool for mental resilience, emotional strength, and strategic thinking. Gratitude also affects relationships. A woman who intentionally expresses gratitude for her spouse, colleagues, or friends strengthens bonds, inspires cooperation, and generates positivity in her environment. Relationships thrive when appreciation is expressed, and a grateful heart attracts energy that multiplies success and happiness. Every word of gratitude spoken, every thought of appreciation creates ripples that reinforce positivity both internally and externally. Consider the power of morning and evening rituals. Starting the day by identifying things you are grateful for sets the tone for your thoughts, energy, and actions. Ending the day by reflecting on moments of gratitude amplifies the mind's capacity to focus on positives even amidst challenges. These rituals are not mere routines. They are daily investments in mental clarity, emotional balance, and spiritual peace. A consistent practice trains the mind to recognize abundance even when life seems chaotic. Gratitude shifts the mind from victimhood to empowerment. When life is difficult, it is easy to focus on limitations and losses. But gratitude forces a pause, a conscious awareness of what is present, what has been gained, and what is still possible. It transforms complaints into lessons, setbacks into opportunities, and scarcity into possibility. Imagine a student struggling with self-doubt. By practicing gratitude daily, they begin to recognize their effort, their perseverance, and their small victories, creating a momentum that drives confidence and achievement. Your environment and the people you surround yourself with also influence your practice of gratitude. Spending time with those who complain constantly or focus on lack can drain your energy. Surrounding yourself with those who notice and express appreciation amplifies your own gratitude, creating a positive feedback loop. Gratitude is contagious. As you practice it daily, it spreads, elevates those around you, and strengthens your own mindset. Visualization enhances gratitude. Imagine not only being thankful for what you have, but for what you are creating and becoming. See yourself succeeding, learning, and growing, and express gratitude for those achievements in advance. This mental practice aligns your thoughts with possibility and attracts circumstances that match the gratitude you feel. Gratitude is not passive reflection. It is an active magnet for positive experiences and achievements. Daily life also offers opportunities to turn challenges into gratitude. Traffic jams, delays, difficult people, financial stress, each obstacle can be reframed. Instead of anger or frustration, one can be thankful for patience developed, problem-solving skills exercised, or opportunities to practice self-control. This does not mean ignoring reality, but choosing to focus on what is constructive and empowering. Gratitude trains the mind to see growth and value where others only see difficulty. Practicing gratitude daily is a declaration of ownership over your mind and life. It is a conscious choice to direct attention toward what empowers, uplifts, and inspires rather than what drains, discourages, and limits. It strengthens mental resilience, emotional stability, and spiritual focus. A person who practices gratitude consistently develops a mind that sees opportunity, a heart that radiates positivity, and a life that attracts abundance. Gratitude is a seed, and daily practice allows it to grow into a forest of hope, joy, and achievement. Taking decisive action is the bridge between thought and reality, between dreams and achievement, between intention and results. Many people spend their lives thinking, planning, worrying, and hesitating, yet the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is the courage to act decisively. A thought, a plan, or a vision without action remains nothing more than a dream. Action is the language through which the mind communicates with reality, and decisive action is the force that transforms possibility into tangible outcomes. Consider a young woman who dreams of starting her own business. She spends weeks, months, even years planning, researching, and imagining the perfect moment to begin. Fear creeps in with thoughts of uncertainty. What if I fail? What if I am not ready? What if the timing is wrong? These doubts paralyze her. But the person who takes decisive action says, I may not have all the answers, but I will start, learn, and adapt along the way. She registers her business, reaches out to her first clients, and begins to build momentum. Every small step taken with decisiveness amplifies courage, clarity, and results. In daily life, opportunities often present themselves subtly, but hesitation allows them to slip away. Imagine a student noticing a scholarship opportunity. Days pass while they deliberate, fearing rejection or inadequacy. The decisive student takes action immediately, submitting the application, preparing the documents, asking for guidance. By acting decisively, they transform possibility into probability. Action converts potential into reality. Decisive action is not reckless. It is intentional, bold, and focused, fueled by a clear vision and a willingness to face uncertainty. Think about a professional facing a career decision. They are offered a promotion that requires learning new skills and stepping outside their comfort zone. Indecision keeps them in familiar patterns, safe yet stagnant. Decisive action requires weighing the facts, trusting your abilities, and moving forward confidently. The moment they accept the challenge, the universe begins to align. Doors open, resources appear, and momentum builds. Action creates energy, hesitation wastes it. Decisive action is the spark that ignites the fire of progress. Consider everyday examples. A person who wants to improve health may plan endlessly, waiting for the perfect diet or exercise routine. Meanwhile, time passes, opportunities slip, and results never appear. The decisive person starts immediately, walking, drinking water, preparing healthy meals, making incremental changes. Each action, no matter how small, builds confidence, skill, and momentum. Decisive action transforms thought into habit, habit into skill, and skill into achievement. Fear is the greatest enemy of decisive action. The mind tells stories of failure, limitation, and impossibility, creating a fog of doubt. But decisive action does not wait for perfect conditions or complete certainty. It is a commitment to act despite fear, trusting that clarity and skill will emerge along the way. Imagine an artist who dreams of showcasing their work. Fear whispers, what if no one likes it? Decisive action says, I will share it anyway, I will learn from feedback, I will grow. Action is the antidote to fear, and decisiveness is courage applied. Timing is another critical element. Opportunities rarely wait. Life rewards those who recognize the moment and act. The decisive person understands that delay often equals loss. Imagine a young professional learning about a networking event with influential leaders. Days pass while they weigh the pros and cons, hesitate, or rationalize avoidance. The decisive person immediately registers, prepares, and attends, gaining connections, insight, and opportunities that hesitation would have denied. Action captures possibility while hesitation loses it forever. Decisive action is also about accountability. When you decide and act, you own the results, success or failure, praise or critique. Ownership develops character, resilience, and confidence. Imagine someone choosing to volunteer for a challenging project at work. By taking responsibility, acting decisively, and delivering results, they demonstrate leadership, gain experience, and build credibility. Action is proof of intention. Decisive action speaks louder than words, plans, or promises ever could. In personal growth, decisive action accelerates transformation. The person who wants to break a bad habit, develop a skill, or overcome fear must act immediately. Each deliberate step forward builds momentum. Imagine a writer who dreams of completing a book. Hesitation keeps them waiting for inspiration, perfect ideas, or uninterrupted time. Decisive action means sitting down daily, writing consistently, and refining as they go. Progress is the child of decisive action. Consistency and courage compound into achievement. Every day, life presents choices. Each decision is an opportunity to act or to delay. Small choices matter as much as large ones because action repeated becomes habit and habit becomes identity. The person who takes decisive action in daily tasks builds the confidence to act decisively in monumental moments. Decisive action is not reserved for extraordinary events. It is practiced consistently in ordinary life, creating a momentum that carries one to extraordinary results. Decisive action requires clarity of purpose. You cannot act without direction. Vision and intention provide the compass, and action is the vehicle. Imagine a community leader wanting to improve conditions in their neighborhood. They could complain, plan endlessly, or wait for external support. Decisive action means organizing volunteers, starting small projects, and creating visible impact. Momentum builds, inspiration spreads, and change occurs. Action is the currency of progress, and decisiveness is the multiplier. Taking decisive action is the difference between thinking about greatness and living it. It transforms ideas into accomplishments, plans into reality, and dreams into life. Hesitation breeds regret, indecision breeds stagnation, and inaction breeds failure. Decisive action is bold, intentional, and fearless. It turns uncertainty into opportunity, fear into courage, and possibility into results. Every successful person in history has mastered the art of decisive action, and every step forward you take today brings you closer to the life you desire, the goals you envision, and the potential you are meant to realize. Your mind is the most valuable asset you will ever possess, and the commitment to lifelong mental growth is the key that unlocks your potential, purpose, and success. Too often, people treat learning as something that ends after formal education, believing that once degrees are earned, skills are mastered, and experience is gained, there is nothing more to acquire. This mindset is a prison. The world is constantly evolving, challenges are always changing, and opportunities will always favor those who continue to grow. Committing to lifelong mental growth means refusing to settle, refusing to stagnate, and embracing the journey of learning as a daily discipline. Consider a young professional entering the workforce. The first instinct might be to rely solely on what was learned in school, believing knowledge ends with the last lecture or the final exam. Yet the real success comes to those who read continuously, seek mentorship, attend workshops, learn new technologies, and adapt to change. Every skill mastered, every lesson learned, Every new perspective gained is an investment in your mind's ability to respond, innovate, and excel. Mental growth is not an event, it is a lifestyle, a discipline, and a commitment that shapes destiny. Daily life is filled with opportunities to practice mental growth. Imagine a parent who wants to become a better caregiver and role model. They read books on child psychology, listen to podcasts on emotional intelligence, and seek advice from experienced mentors. Each new piece of knowledge enhances their ability to understand, connect, and lead effectively. Mental growth transforms ordinary responsibilities into opportunities for mastery, and challenges become lessons rather than burdens. The mind expands when curiosity is cultivated, and wisdom is the reward of consistent learning. Think about the entrepreneur who faces rapidly changing markets. Those who commit to lifelong mental growth study trends, analyze competitors, seek advice, and experiment with new strategies. Mental growth allows them to innovate, adapt, and survive where others falter. Stagnation, on the other hand, leaves one vulnerable to obsolescence. Your mind must be sharpened continually, your knowledge updated, and your skills refined. Mental growth is not passive. It is active engagement with ideas, perspectives, and experiences that expand your ability to navigate life's complexities. Consider a student who graduates and believes they have reached the pinnacle of knowledge. Life will quickly teach that the world is far more complex. Skills must be updated, and the mind must remain agile. Lifelong mental growth is the commitment to never stop questioning, never stop exploring, and never stop seeking understanding. Each book read, each conversation engaged, each skill acquired is a step toward mastery. The mind grows not in isolation, but in dialogue with the world, absorbing, reflecting, and applying knowledge to real-life challenges. Daily examples abound in ordinary life. A cashier learning new point of sale systems, a teacher exploring innovative teaching methods, a driver mastering new traffic regulations, a student learning emotional regulation. Each small effort to grow mentally strengthens adaptability, decision-making, and confidence. Mental growth turns ordinary routines into opportunities for excellence. A life without growth is a life of repetition. A life committed to mental growth is a life of progress, discovery, and empowerment. Commitment to mental growth also requires humility. The person who believes they already know everything closes their mind to possibilities, feedback, and wisdom. Imagine a professional who ignores new technologies, trends, or advice from peers, believing past experience is sufficient. Stagnation will silently erode their effectiveness, leaving them behind while others advance. Humility opens the mind, curiosity fuels it, and commitment ensures it continues to expand. Learning is not a sign of weakness, it is a declaration of strength, adaptability, and foresight. Mentally growing is also about applying knowledge, not just accumulating it. The person who reads, studies, and learns but never implements remains stagnant. Consider someone learning leadership principles, conflict resolution, or financial strategies. Each new idea must be applied in daily life to produce real results. Lifelong mental growth is a cycle of learning, application, reflection, and refinement. The mind expands when knowledge meets action, and growth becomes visible not only in understanding but in achievement. Imagine an athlete who constantly studies new techniques, nutrition, and psychology to improve performance. Every insight adopted enhances skill, endurance, and strategy. Lifelong mental growth is similar. It prepares you for challenges before they arrive, equips you to seize opportunities, and strengthens your resilience in the face of adversity. Those who stop learning stagnate, while those who commit to continuous growth elevate their life, influence, and legacy. Commitment to mental growth also enhances creativity. The more knowledge, perspectives, and experiences you acquire, the more your mind can combine ideas in novel ways. Consider an artist learning new techniques, exploring different cultures, and understanding history. Their work becomes richer, more innovative, and more impactful. The same principle applies to any profession or aspect of life. A growing mind sees possibilities, connects ideas, and creates solutions, where a stagnant mind sees only obstacles. Daily practice of mental growth includes reading, listening, observing, reflecting, experimenting, and engaging with others. It is a deliberate effort to expand capacity, sharpen understanding, and enhance wisdom. It is an internal commitment that manifests externally in problem-solving, creativity, decision-making, and influence. The person who dedicates themselves to lifelong mental growth becomes a magnet for opportunity, a resource for others, and a leader in their sphere. Ultimately, committing to lifelong mental growth is a promise to yourself that you will never settle for mediocrity. It is the recognition that the mind is the ultimate tool, and its development determines the trajectory of your life. Every day presents a chance to learn something new, to challenge assumptions, and to expand understanding. Those who seize this daily commitment harness a force more powerful than circumstances, more influential than fear, and more enduring than failure. Your mind is your kingdom, and lifelong growth is the crown that ensures your life fulfills its highest potential. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to understand something fundamental. Your mind is the battlefield, your thoughts are the weapons, and your life is the arena where victory or defeat is decided. Every person you admire, every leader, every innovator, every person who has achieved greatness began by mastering their mind before they mastered the world. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not luck, not circumstance, not intelligence alone. It is the conscious decision to kill negative thinking, to control your thoughts, to shape your mind, and to act decisively toward your vision. When you choose to think differently, to act intentionally, and to rise above limitation, you begin to rewrite the story of your life. I want you to picture your life 5 years from now. Will it reflect the doubts, fears, and excuses you entertain today, or will it reflect courage, faith, and decisive action? Your current reality is the result of your thoughts yesterday, and your future will be the reflection of your choices today. Do not underestimate the power of one thought, one decision, one action repeated consistently. Napoleon Hill said, "What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Your mind is the soil, your thoughts are the seeds, and your actions are the water and sunlight. Plant seeds of positivity, nurture them daily, and watch your life blossom into a reality beyond your imagination. Every obstacle you face is not a curse, but a call to rise. The person who complains, blames, or hesitates will remain stuck, while the person who sees challenge as opportunity will grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Warren Buffett once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." Mastery over your mind requires discipline, focus, and the courage to reject negativity. Every negative thought you refuse to entertain is a victory. Every positive affirmation you speak over yourself is a brick in the foundation of your destiny. Consider your daily life. The small decisions you make every morning, the words you speak to yourself, the environment you choose to inhabit, the people you allow to influence your thoughts. These are the building blocks of your future. If you nurture negativity, procrastination, and fear, your life will reflect them. If you commit to gratitude, decisive action, resilience, and mental growth, your life will radiate success, joy, and purpose. What you do consistently today determines the results you experience tomorrow. Never forget that failure is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Every great person has failed countless times, yet they persisted. Thomas Edison said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Failure is temporary, but giving up makes it permanent. Your thoughts will either enslave you or empower you, and the choice is yours. Choose to see challenges as lessons, setbacks as redirection, and obstacles as opportunities to grow. When you do this, negative thinking loses power, and your mind becomes a launching pad for greatness. Imagine the life you desire, a life filled with purpose, abundance, joy, and impact. Now understand that this life is not a matter of chance, but of choice. It is built on the consistent decisions to kill negative thoughts, to speak life to yourself, to act decisively, to control your environment, to practice gratitude, to develop resilience, and to commit to lifelong mental growth. Each of these principles is a tool, a weapon, and a pathway. Those who wield them daily will rise above limitations, surpass expectations, and achieve the extraordinary. You must embrace the truth that your potential is far greater than your circumstances. Your past mistakes, your current struggles, and the doubts that whisper in your mind do not define you. What defines you is your ability to take control of your thoughts, your focus, and your actions. Les Brown said, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Dare to think bigger than your fear, bolder than your doubts, and higher than your insecurities." Your mind is your kingdom, and every thought you entertain is either a servant or a master. Choose to make it your greatest ally. The people who inspire you, the leaders you admire, the innovators and creators who changed the world. They all began where you are today. They faced fear, doubt, and negativity. What separated them was their refusal to surrender their mind to limitation. They understood that success is not a gift. It is a discipline, a practice, and a daily commitment. They mastered their thoughts, took bold action, and cultivated resilience until their lives reflected the greatness they imagined. Your story can follow the same path. Your mind is the starting point, and everything else flows from it. Remember, small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. Every positive thought, every affirmation, every step taken in the direction of growth, every habit built, and every lesson learned multiplies over time. Compound interest works in finances, but it works even more powerfully in the mind. Each day you kill a negative thought, nurture a positive one, and act decisively, you are building a life that others will admire and a legacy that will inspire generations. Today you have the power to change your story. You have the power to rise above fear, doubt, and negativity. You have the power to shape your mind, your actions, and your life. Zig Ziglar said, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." Start today. Start with your thoughts. Start with your words. Start with your actions. Start with gratitude. Start with resilience. Start with decisive steps toward the life you are capable of living. Your greatness begins in your mind, and the moment you take control, the world begins to follow. Every moment from now is an opportunity. Every thought, every choice, every word, and every action is a chance to either rise or fall. Commit to rise. Commit to master your mind. Commit to kill negative thinking. Embrace the principles of gratitude, resilience, decisive action, mental growth, and positive environment. Your life is your message to the world, your legacy, and your destiny. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Conceive greatness, believe in yourself, and act relentlessly. Your life is waiting to reflect the vision you hold in your mind, the courage you embrace, and the discipline you practice